Okay, so the phenomenal Cat Burns released this song. It's called "Live, Live More, Love More," which is a unique song coming from Cat Burns, but to an extent it is something that we kind of expected for her to release at some point. So we can assume that some of the stuff that she's talking about is something that is true to her heart. Live More and Love More by Cat Burns. We'll talk about that. Let's see if we have any sponsors. We'll get right into it. Okay, so we're gonna talk about what the song starts off with. The song starts off with let's kind of listen to Cat Burns, and she opens it up as she says, "Since I've gotten older, I realize all we really care about is something that doesn't really matter," which from multiple different standpoints could be the way that we look at life, the way that we look at a dollar, look at a dollar or a pound in the UK, which could be also things we look at as like a teenager, like interacting with people, right? So that's what she's saying when she says it doesn't matter. That's what it goes into detail. It's just we care because we're told to. So that's how she ends her first verse, which I think is a lovely way to end that, like a short introduction verse or a hook to a song. She says, "Well, I'm trying to keep our head above water," which, everyone. If you look at the water as debt or just the amount to live alive, everyone tries to live above just like the debt that they owe, or something that they're battling in life, or a situation that they are battling in life. So that is very important to pay attention to. But if we don't want to, like, what if we don't want to, and we just end up in situations where people are homeless, or situations where things just aren't going right for a person in their life that makes them commit certain different acts like suicide, homicide, things like that, where they are trying to make a way for themselves. If there's something you want to do, just do it. That's that Nike commercial, "just do it," is the first thing that comes up to my mind when she says it. But it's some truth to it. Like and people have seen it through the pandemic, right? Like people went after their hobbies, quit corporate jobs to follow their hobbies. People have become comedians. People have done what they wanted to do. People started businesses that they couldn't before because of the pandemic, and they explored it in different ways. And to that song being coming out, like the height of almost out of the pandemic, that happens every couple years. That's something people really want to hear and relate to. She says, "Don't let your head stop from your heart. Don't let your head stop your heart from moving." So just don't overthink a lot of things and just follow your heart sometimes, which people say when they think about love, and that's difficult to disassociate with. If there's something you want to talk to, if somebody you want to talk to, just talk to them. Time is too short not to talk to somebody that may make your day better or make their day better. It's just not. It's worth it. Just talk to them. Who knows who it'll be? It'll just be. Live more and love more. Just see the world through kinder eyes, which is, I guess, something I can only ask for. It's not necessarily something that people will do just out the kindness of their heart, but it is something that we should look at more. We've talked about that chorus, talked about the hook. This bridge is hug your kids, tell them you love them. Have some heart. Make sure it's open. Take risks, because time gets stolen. It's weird because when she says this, I think of like death or a tragic event happening to the person that they love, and they don't really have time to tell them that they love them, and so they never open that heart up, or they never know how to explain how they love somebody, which is weird. I think there's amount of compassion that you have to show somebody, or respect that you have for somebody, because life is too short. You only have one, so and she says that it might sound a cliche, but life is too short, and you only have one. It's a cliche because people have been saying it for years. However, we've seen through this pandemic that there are certain things that you just have to do in life because you don't want to have to regret it later in life when you had the perfect chance to do it. And I don't think she's wrong for it. I think there's more detail into this that needs to be explored. She says, "Who knows? Who knows what it'll be? Who knows where we'll be? Just live your life to live more and love more." Which this song in itself is a masterpiece in the making, solely because there are things that needed to be said for a lot of people that weren't said. There was a lot of different situations that people went through the pandemic. The beginning of the pandemic's been going on for 3 years, marking today, right? It's weird to see how people have resorted to, after the pandemic and in between the pandemic, to see people change career paths because they think it's best for them. And to some extent, we have to look at that and follow their passions. I think, in a perfect theoretical world, love is everything. There's no hate in the world, but it is, to a certain degree. Yeah, you have to live. You have to live more, enjoy your life while you're living it, but also to love more, because the world could be so much better if everyone in the world loved each other. And I know that's a cliche as well, as, oh, love will bring the world and peace in the world together. And I know that's not entirely true. I get it, but it's, in a theoretical world, right? Like love rules over everything. That'll be something, and that's why this song, while it is the shortest song by Cat Burns, it's a very emotional song. And I would rate that like an 8 out of 10, just because the context behind it, the thought behind it, the message behind it itself it's so powerful that, and to some instances, you understand that you've lived this experience with them. So coming out of this experience, living out of this pandemic, you're like, well, that's something that only a few people can share, a few million people can share, because not a lot of people went through it, and not a lot of people made through it, but not everyone's path through it is the same, which to some extent is great. You don't want similarity, you don't want complete sameness. There were some outstanding people during that time that makes this, and a great song, and a greater episode, because the message behind it, that song has resonated with me a little bit, and I'm still kind of letting that voice into, kind of process it, because it's still in my rotation, because it is frankly still new, but it is something that when you think about a song and you think about a message and you think about what really a song is trying to portray, you end up thinking, if the world was filled with love and people lived a little bit more, I think, you would, you could get a better society. I think, if we don't pick on people, but that's theoretical, we could argue that for days, theoretically argue what would be the perfect world, but it is something that if we really think about it, if we really thought about it, there could be a lot of different things that, we could express, we could really explore as human beings, or in the animal kingdom. Through evolution, we've seen it, and it's so weird to look at this and go, the deep thought, but it is something that, especially music related, this song does, and not many songs have done this recently, so that's why this song is completely close to my heart.